What are you?
We are.
We're Venom!
Take your deep your hand to touch the ground.
We are fugitives. On the run, innocent.
You're in the tree, my friend.
No! This is chill! There has to be a reason they're after us.
There's an army coming that cannot be beaten. As long as Venom lives, that we want it. Everything will end.
The third part of the movie begins with an alien named Noel, who says that he is the god of emptiness and all the worlds in the universe. And that he has been imprisoned in this place for a very long time. This is after light invaded his dark planet. And at that time his children betrayed him and imprisoned him in this place. In order to make sure that he will remain imprisoned forever. They hid the prison key in a specific place in the universe. Noel talks to the monsters that he controls and tells them. Their mission is to search for this key everywhere until they find it. When they find it, he will use it and free himself from his prison. At that time, he will destroy all the planets in the entire universe and give these monsters eternal life as a reward. The monsters get excited and open time doors for them to pass through and search for the key. We move to Mexico and find Eddie in a bar talking to the barman. Venom wants to drink alcohol at the time, and when he refuses Eddie, Venom forces him. He makes a certain cocktail for him to drink, and then he sees Eddie publishing the news on television. And writes at that time that he is wanted by justice and the police are looking for him, and this is because they think that he killed a police officer man named Molly. So Eddie decides that he will escape, but he is confused and does not know where to go, and at that time he sees a small model of the Statue of Liberty in front of him. So he gets a sore on it and sleeps that they are traveling to New York. And this is because he always wanted to see the Statue of Liberty. In fact, Eddie agrees with Venom's words and it appears that there is a part of Venom's body that moved with the coin that Eddie left. After Eddie and Venom get out of his bar, they look for a way to travel with it, but while they are walking in the street, they hear the sound of dogs barking loudly. Venom understands that these dogs need help and decides to go to help them. He and Eddie move towards the source of the sound until they reach a place where there are a large number of the dogs are locked inside metal cages. And before he frees them, a group of evil people appear to them. At that moment, their leader tells Eddie that he got himself into a big problem. And that is because he entered their place without their permission. Eddie ignores his words and asks him why he locked these dogs. So he tells him that he starves them in order to set them on fire. After that, he uses them to eliminate intruders like him. So Eddie asks him to free these dogs in exchange for letting him live. The leader of the evil ones mocks him and those with him, and they raise their weapons against him and threaten to kill him. At that moment, Venom wants to attack them and eat them, but Eddie refuses and gives the leader of the villains a last chance, but he does not listen to him and approaches him and stabs him in the face. At that moment, Venom appears and kicks him and throws him far away until he hits the wall and falls to the ground. The rest of the villains shoot Eddie to kill him, but Venom appears to them in his full form. He and Eddie cooperate and are able to control the villains in seconds. Then Venom gathers them in front of him and they are terrified of him. He asks him with extreme fear who he is, so he answers them and tells them that his name is Venom. Then Eddie and Venom go out to continue on their way to New York. One of Null's monsters appears while looking for the key, and at the same time there is a person watching Eddie and Venom through the surveillance cameras and asking his assistant to call General Strike and inform him of what is happening, and we return to the tune. And the barman is sitting drinking and it appears that he still does not understand what Eddie and Venom did in his tune. And suddenly he sees in front of him a piece of Venom's body moving, so he tries to catch it, but suddenly Strike appears and is reserved the sample. And then the barman asks about the person he had in the bar a while ago, and he tells him that he does not know anything about him, but he is a strange person. And talks to himself, in addition to the fact that his body produces long black shields, so Strike orders his soldiers to arrest the barman. And then he walks from his bar, and in another place we see a girl and a boy. Sisters sleeping on the ground and looking at the sky. And suddenly the weather changes and a severe storm occurs, so they run quickly because they hide from the storm. But lightning strikes them and the boy falls to the ground and dies. It appears that all of this is a dream that a doctor named B dreams of. She wakes up terrified because of this dream. Then she gets into her car and goes to her workplace, which is in an American military base known as Area 51. It is located in a faraway place in the desert because this area conducts tests on aliens. Then B gets into a secret place with her car inside the mountain. She goes down to a depth of approximately 30 meters underground until she reaches the laboratory where she works. There, she meets General Strike and we learn that they work together in the same laboratory. When Bill enters the office, she talks to Strike and tries to make him understand that not all aliens are evil creatures. Strike tells her that this idea was formed in him by virtue of his work, and this is because his mission is to arrest aliens and that's it. As for her mission, it is to examine these creatures and his study. And Strick tells me that they were able to save Officer Molly from death, and this was after he injected him with a sample of aliens present in the laboratory, which are of the same species as Venom, so she loves to follow up on Molly's condition with her colleague. At that moment, a doctor named Sadie comes and greets B. As soon as Strike sees her, he gives her the Venom sample that he found in Mexico. At that moment, B asks Strike if there is any news about Venom's location, so he tells her that they are still looking for him. After that, they go to talk to Molly and try to understand from him what happened to him before he died. But they discover that the Venom sample succeeded in controlling Molly's body, and the creature responds to them from the Venom family. He tells them that he and all creatures like him will die, and this is because there are monsters looking for them to destroy them and erase them from existence. So he asks him about the reason that makes these monsters do this, so he tells them that they are looking for a safe place and we go to Lady and Venom, who are on a plane and are holding it tightly. And it appears that Eddie does not like what is happening, and he tells Venom that he cannot bear the air. So Venom turns into his form. At this moment the monster is able to locate Venom and move towards him. And suddenly this monster appears in front of Venom and tries to catch him, but Venom is able to avoid him and then he gets into a fierce fight with him. And Venom is able to throw this monster inside the plane engine, and at that moment the monster's body is cut into very small parts. And then Venom jumps off the plane with the body of my hand and tries himself to his parachute so that they can land on the ground safely. And at this moment there is a person named Martin is in a car with his wife Nova, his son Alif, and his daughter Echo. They are all going to Area 51. This is because Martin is obsessed with aliens and wants to see an alien in reality. While they are on their way, a piece of the monster's body that was chasing Venom falls on them, but Martin thinks it is just small rocks that fell from the mountains around them. He does not care. At that moment, we find the monster's body gathering and the monster returns to life again. We go back to Eddie and Venom, who have fallen to Earth. Then Venom enters Eddie's body again, and Eddie wants to know who this monster is. Him, so Venom tells him that he is one of Null's monsters. And he tells him that he and the rest of his species escaped from Null after he imprisoned him in his planet, and that he is inside the body of the key to the prison in which Null is imprisoned. They also know that this monster is coming to take the key and free Noel from his prison. Venom continues his words and tells Eddie that as soon as he transforms into his full form, this monster will be able to determine his location. And this is through the signals that come out of the key inside his body. He asks Venom's hands how they will be able to get rid of this monster. So Venom tells him that as long as they are both together, they will be safe and that the only way to eliminate him, this monster, along with the rest of the monsters like him, is getting rid of the key, but this will only happen in one case, which is that they separate from each other. And one of them dies so that the key disappears. After that, Eddie sees a horse in front of him, so he says to Venom that this horse will be their means of transportation that will take them to New York. He enters the body of this horse and puts his hand on his back, and then he sets off into the desert at an imaginary speed to the point that Eddie flies off his back, but Venom grabs him and brings him back again. At that time, in the lab, Strike is with B. A soldier comes and tells him that they spotted the location of Eddie after he parachuted out of the plane. Strike asks him to prepare a group of soldiers to go and arrest him. We go to Eddie and Venom, who are standing by the lake so Venom can drink from it. Suddenly, a helicopter appears with Strike's soldiers in it, and they hit Venom with a strong wave of radiation. Venom throws Eddie into the lake, then gets out of the horse's body and goes down into the water after him. At that moment, the soldiers change their clothes into diving suits and rape him. One of the soldiers manages to grab Eddie, but Eddie removes the oxygen hose in his suit and runs away from him. A second soldier comes and attacks him, forcing him to move the gun away from him. Suddenly, a bullet comes out of the gun and hits the soldier, and he dies. Eddie is shocked and does not comprehend the idea that he killed the soldier. He rises to the surface of the water to catch his breath, but a second soldier comes and grabs him. At that moment, Venom sees the soldier holding Eddie, and they are heading towards the waterfall. Venom runs to Eddie and transforms into his full form to save him, but the soldiers gather around him and aim their weapons at Venom. Suddenly, the monster appears and manages to locate Venom, jumping into the water to catch him. But Venom is able to escape from him and jumps out of the water. At that moment, the soldiers aim their weapons at the monster and shoot it. But the monster is not affected and catches them and kills them one after the other. At that moment, Strike was watching what was happening and was shocked. Venom enters Audie's body and quickly escapes from the place. Strike then calls Dr. B and tells her what happened. After that, Strike returns to the lab and Obi and Sadie go to Molly. They ask him what's going on, but find Molly turning into a creature of the same species as Venom. This creature speaks and tells them that there is a scary creature called Null who sent monsters behind them to destroy them, so they ask him why Null did this. He tells them that they imprisoned Null and escaped from him because he had controlled them for a long time, which is why he sent monsters after them. He tells them that Null is searching for the key that will free him from his prison, and that the key is inside a black body of their species. The creature says that if Null gets the key, he will completely destroy them and humans as well. How can they prevent Null from accessing the key? So he tells them that they will not be able to do so, because Null possesses a terrible power that no creature can stand in front of. And the creature says that Venom and the person living inside his body form a force that protects the key, and he confirms. As long as the two are alive, this force will remain, but if one of them dies, then this power will disappear and the key will no longer exist. Here, Strike realizes that the only way to stop Noelle is to kill either Eddie or Venom, so that Noelle will remain imprisoned forever. B doesn't seem to like what Strike wants to do, so he gets angry at her and tells her that his soldiers are dead and he must avenge them. In addition, he will protect all people with the revenge he will take. He then leaves her and walks away. At this time, Eddie is walking in the desert and suddenly sees Martin and his family in front of him, camping to rest and eat. As soon as Martin saw Eddie, he realized that he needed help, so he welcomed him and introduced him to his family. Allowed him to join them and offered him food to eat. However, Venom threw the food away and wanted to eat Martin and his family, but Eddie stopped him. At that moment, Martin is surprised by what is happening, but Nova talks to Eddie to change the subject and asks him where he is going. Eddie tells her he is going to New York. Martin turns to him and says he can take him to a state near New York and tells him that they are going to Area 51 because he believes in aliens living with them and he wants to see one for real. Martin asks Eddie if he believes that aliens are with them on the planet, and Eddie tells him that he believes in the idea a lot. They get in the car and continue on their way. At that moment, Martin starts playing the guitar and singing with his family. Venom loves the song and likes to sing its lyrics. Night falls while they are all asleep, but Elif wakes up and wakes Eddie up. Elif takes a chocolate from his pocket and gives it to Eddie, asking him to lower his voice because his parents forbade him from eating sweets. Eddie takes it from him and thanks him. Then Elif asks Eddie if aliens really exist, and Eddie understands from his tone of voice that he is scared. So Eddie tells him that these are all myths and that there are no aliens in reality. Then he reassures himself and Elif sleeps on Eddie's shoulder. At that moment, Eddie falls asleep and Venom is impressed by Eddie's behavior and tells him that he will be a very good father in the future, and also tells him that he is happy that he did not eat this family. After a while, they arrive in Las Vegas, and surveillance cameras monitor Eddie and determine his location. At that time, Martin gives Eddie money and shoes to wear because he notices that Eddie is not wearing anything on his leg. Eddie thanks him and asks him to take care of himself and his family. As soon as Martin leaves, Venom eats the chocolate and is very happy with its taste. After that, Eddie tells Venom that Martin gave him $20, and they know that this amount will not be enough for their transportation to New York. Venom suggests that they enter a gambling hall in order to play with the money they have and earn many times more. This way, they will be able to travel to New York easily. Eddie is convinced by Venom's words. But the security man prevents Eddie from entering because he is not wearing a suit. Venom gets upset with him, hits him, and knocks him unconscious. Then he sees a person wearing a suit standing far away, so Venom goes to him, hits him, and knocks him unconscious. Then he pulls him away without anyone seeing them. He takes the suit from him and puts it on, and then he returns. Eddie goes to the hotel and enters without anyone stopping him. Venom starts playing, but he loses all the money, so he gets very angry and wants to destroy the game. Eddie tries to stop him, but suddenly they see their old friend, whose name was Chen, and she knows the truth about Eddie and Venom. Eddie goes to her and greets her. He learns from her that she is staying in a hotel and offers him to go with her to rest a little. Eddie agrees and goes with her, but he is surprised that Chen wants to dance one last dance with Venom, so Eddie tries to make her understand that they are being chased. And Venom will not be able to appear, but Chen insists on her opinion and asks him for one last dance before he leaves her. At that moment, Venom tells Eddie that he wants to dance with Chen, so Eddie yells at him and they know that if he appears in his form, then the monster will be able to locate him, but Venom ignores Eddie's words and transforms into his real form and dances with Chen. At that moment, the monster locates Venom and moves towards him at a terrifying speed. Venom and Eddie are surprised when they see the monster in front of them, so Venom quickly enters Eddie's body, while Chen is standing there, very terrified. So Eddie comes out and tells her that this monster is going to leave, and he actually leaves the place and walks away. At the same moment, the special forces arrive and hit Eddie with a wave of radiation, and he separates from Venom. After that, he locks Venom inside a tube and takes him and Eddie to Area 51. At that moment, the monster is able to locate Venom after his separation from Eddie, and he walks behind the plane and sneaks into Area 51 without anyone seeing him. At the same time, Martin and his family have reached Area 51 and are sneaking in from the wall. They walk quietly until they climb a high tower and wait in the hope that they will see any alien. At that moment, Eddie wakes up and is locked inside a room in the laboratory. As soon as he regains consciousness, he finds the creature of the same species sleeping in the room in front of him. The creature tells Eddie that he must protect the key so that Noel can stay inside his prison. He tells him that if Noel is freed from his prison, he will destroy the entire universe. He tells him that the laboratory contains many creatures from the same species as Venom, and he asks him to free Venom and the rest of the creatures so that they can stand in front of the monsters and destroy them. At that moment, Sadie and I come and ask Eddie about Venom, so she tells him that Venom is in the laboratory. At that moment, Strike enters them with a group of soldiers and they remove her from her position. He tells her that the entire station is under his control, so Eddie comes out and tells him that he will kill him just like he killed his soldiers. And also so that there is no key after he dies. After that, Strike takes out his gun and shoots Eddie, but suddenly Venom appears from inside Sadie's body. We learn here that Sadie refused to lock Venom and decided to keep him inside her body. Before Eddie dies, Venom moves to his body and takes out the bullet from Eddie's body and saves him from death. Here comes the monster and wants to reach Venom, but the creature from Venom species attacks the monster and asks Venom to escape quickly, but the monster eats this creature and comes out from behind them. At that moment, Venom asks Sadie and B to free all the creatures from his class, so they carry out his words. And the creatures come out and enter the bodies of those who are in the place randomly, and together they form a terrible force to confront the monster and kill it. After that, Venom enters Eddie's body in order to scatter the monster and prevent it from tracking the key and then the creatures from the Venom faction. And the special forces try to overcome the monster because the monster is very strong and they cannot stand. They can't stand in front of him, so Sod allows the Venom creature to enter her body and she turns into a very strong creature and attacks the monster. As for B, she takes a tube that contains the Venom creature's eye and keeps it. At that moment, Eddie goes out of the lab and the monster goes out after him. Martin and his family are shocked when they see what is happening. At that moment, Eddie is running with all his strength to escape from the monster. But Martin sees him and calls him, so he goes out. They have Eddie to be by their side and protect them from any danger they might be exposed to. We return to the battle and Strike grabs a rocket launcher and aims it at the monster and they hit it with a missile. Due to the severity of the explosion, the tower in which Martin and his family are located falls, but Eddie and Venom decide to save Elif and his sister. Other creatures from the Venom species move and save Martin and his wife. After that, the monster gathers its body from the second after the explosion and the monster begins to emit sound waves and asks for support from Noel. At that moment, the creature comes out of Sadie's body, due to the sound waves, and Venom will also come out of Eddie's body. But Eddie keeps holding on to it and can bring it back. At that moment, Null opens a time gate and a monster passes through it and joins the monster that is there to help him. Sadie moves quickly and retrieves the creature and it enters her body again. At the same moment, she moves with it and takes Martin and his family and escapes from the place in her car. As for Sadie, it is too bad that the monster is about to kill her, so Eddie runs quickly. He gets on the motorcycle and asks Astrake to let the helicopter come after him. Astrake listens to him and gives orders to the plane and the rest of the forces to go after Eddie. At that moment, Martin's family leaves the place and arrives at his car. At that moment, Venom leaves and appears in his form. At that moment, the monster leaves Sadie and runs after him and the other monster. Venom is able to lure the monsters to a certain place full of fuel. The plane comes and fires at the monsters and explodes them, and at that moment they think that they have eliminated the monsters. But suddenly the monster appears from the midst of smoke and attacks the plane and destroys it. Strike gets out of his car to save his injured colleagues and goes to pull one of them out, but the monster stabs him hard, penetrating his body. When Eddie and Sadie see what happened, they unite and attack the monster. Eddie manages to cut off his head. But Sadie takes Strike and his colleague and takes them to a safe place. At that moment, the monster attacks Eddie, grabs him, and lifts him up. He is about to eat him, but suddenly Martin appears and hits the monster with a missile, separating his head from his body. But he is terrified when he finds the monster still alive and looking at him. Martin runs away from the place quickly and returns to his family. At that moment, the monster asks Noel for support again. The sound waves coming out of the monster cause the creature to come out of Sadie's body, and this time the monster attacks the creature and eats him, and then more than one time portal opens and many monsters come out of it. And at that moment Venom pulls Eddie and they enter the wreckage of the plane, and it appears that Eddie is severely injured. And Venom tells Eddie that he is very proud of him because it is the first time he has seen him fight boldly and bravely. And he knows that he is not a failure as he said about him in the past, and Venom continues his words. And tells Eddie that he wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, so Eddie tells him that after they finish the battle they will go see the Statue of Liberty together. But Eddie is shocked when Venom tells him that this is the last battle and he knows that they will not leave this place together. And that one of them must sacrifice himself so that Noel remains locked up forever, so Eddie collapses because he cannot imagine that he will live without Venom. But Eddie has no other choice but this and agrees to save the world from Noel's evil. Then Venom enters Eddie's body and treats his wounds. They leave the wreckage of the plane together and then Venom appears in his full form. And many armors emerge from his body and merge with all the monsters that Noel sent. He keeps walking with them towards a certain place and looks at Strike while he is walking, so he understands what Strike Venom wants to do. And Venom is going towards the device that contains a deadly and flammable substance, and as soon as he arrives, Eddie gets out of his body. And then Strike pulls on himself and gets up from his place and turns on the device, and the deadly substance descends on Venom and the monsters with him. And at that moment Venom covers Eddie with an armored door to protect him, and Eddie is very sad when he sees Venom dying in front of him. And after that the material covers Venom and the monsters completely. Asterix takes a lighter out of his pocket, sacrifices himself, and lights the lighter. At that moment, a very big explosion occurs, and Sadie falls to the ground from the intensity of the explosion. She uses the rest of the sample she has, and transforms into a being from the Venom species. She is able to save Sadie. After that, we see Eddie in the hospital. He thinks that everything that happened was a dream, and he keeps calling him Venom. At that time, an army general is next to him. And responds to him. He tells him that Venom is no longer here and thanks him for his courage and tells him that he was able to save the world from destruction. But he warns him to bring up the story of what happened or he will be imprisoned for the rest of his life. After that, we see Eddie walking in the street and remembering his memories with Venom and going to the Statue of Liberty, which Venom himself used to see in reality. Eddie tells Venom that he will never forget him. After that, we see Noel in his prison and he screams with all his might. He got angry while addressing the people, and saying that their black hero is dead and announcing that the planets will be his and under his rule. And that all people will see this for themselves and the movie will end. If you like the video, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel and write to us in the comments what movie we want to summarize. See you soon.